always. So it is Tuesday. We are up to episode 7 of season 1 of Bates Motel. So last episode we were left off with the killing of Officer Shelby and everything, and we know that the cops are coming. So this episode 7, opens up with the Bates kind of waiting outside the house and everything. Romero shows up and everything, and he sees Shelby sitting or laying there and everything. Talks to the Bates and everything. Norma pretty much confesses everything that's happened between what was going on with Shelby that night and everything, and even with Keith Summers and everything. Like, she did kill him. She confessed she killed him. But it was really in self-defense because, he tried to rape her and everything and blah, blah, blah. So Romero, decided to kind of fabricate a story to protect the Bates. So he kind of came up with this whole other story of Summers and Shelby kind of, in cahoots about different things, especially with, the Asian or the Chinese sex trade slave and everything. So, he's kind of like, all right, so here's what we're going to tell them. This is what the report's going to say. So that way you guys get off scot-free. Dylan's a bit miffed at this because, Dylan didn't get any credit or anything. He pretty much got a bullet to the arm, and it's like, really? I don't get a thanks or anything? Really? So he's a little miffed. I get why he's miffed. I understand that. I'd be a little miffed too. I'm just saying. So, that's all cleared up. They've got a weight off their shoulders and everything. Meantime, though, there is this mysterious man that kind of pulls into the motel, kind of looking at the motel and everything. Dylan goes up to the car. He's like, "Sir, can I help you?" He's kind of like, "Oh, where's the such and such motel?" And Dylan, explains, "Oh, it's Bates Motel now. It's under new management." Gentleman asked about Keith Summers, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, he's dead. I'm sorry." So the guy drives off or whatever, but he does come back later. He does come back later in the episode, talks to Normal, kind of, explains how he has this, standing reservation every other month for, a whole week or 2 weeks or whatever for business, and, yada, yada, yada. So she's kind of like, okay, whatever, it's business, whatever, we'll keep this arrangement. But we will find out later on he is not such a good guy, but we kind of do get the sense, there's something very, very fishy about it. We will find out, in later episodes exactly kind of what this guy is up to, just saying. So there's that whole aspect, and then Norma, meantime, since she's kind of gotten her name cleared and everything, she wants to try and boost a little business and everything, so she figures, she's going to do a little networking. She goes to a restaurant, her first stop of the day, and she's kind of like, "Hey, I've got some pamphlets, I run the Bates Motel. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind having a couple of these pamphlets, out for display, and I'll take some of, the restaurant's pamphlets, put them in my lobby and everything. We can do a little networking, for, people new to town and stuff." Unfortunately, the manager of this restaurant's like, "Well, I've heard some things about your motel. I really don't feel comfortable endorsing, such a kind of, shady, unreliable type of place." Norma, of course, is, totally upset because she's like, "What the hell? Seems like things are just finally turning around, and now people are talking and everything." But of course, we kind of figured people were going to talk because this is a small town that used to be a logging town, now mainly gets its money out of, the freaking pot business, and maybe a little bit of, Chinese sex trafficking. I don't know, I'm just saying. So yeah, so she's a little miffed, she's upset about it, kind of what is she gonna do and everything. At this point, I almost do feel like, it's kind of getting a little annoying with Norma, just because it seems a little bit more of woe is me. But, it does, over time, it does kind of, get a little better. I feel like the Norma character definitely gets kind of into her own groove with the show, so I'm just saying. So yeah. And then towards the end or whatever, we see Norman confront Bradley kind of like about the relationship and everything, because he's a little upset because Norma was kind of like, giving him a little bit of like tough love of like, hey, come on, like, how well do you know this girl? I really don't think there's really much going on between you, but I know you guys are having sex. So, he wants to prove his mom wrong, like, hey, no, we're pretty serious. Norman, unfortunately, this is kind of his first sort of like rejection by a girl, because Bradley's kind of like, hey, no, I don't think of you like that, that's not how I view you or anything, like, I'm sorry, but I'm just not into like that, plus I have a boyfriend and everything. Yeah, so you know what, Bradley's a little bitch, okay, I'll say it, I think we all kind of know it. We all kind of know her and her friends are sort of like those bitchy girls in school. Whatever. But no, that's kind of basically, episode 7 in a nutshell, you guys. Things are kind of picking up. I know we are getting a little bit at a slow point with the, some of the stuff. We are getting close to the end of the first season, so we will see how everything turns out. Till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.